Welcome to online instruction for stylistics. This is lecture number 11. Topic for today's discussion is sentences and structure, that is active, passives and transitives. The outline comprises of the following agenda items. Number 1. Warm up or pre-reading. In this section we will be doing objective discussion and we will be defining transitivity. We will be differentiating active and passive voice. Objective discussion. By the end of the class, students should be able to do the following: compare and analyze different varieties and styles in which English sentences may communicate the same message with different effect. Number 2. Give oral presentation or write an exam essay on the difference between active and passive voice. Next, define transitivity. Intransitive, transitive and transitive verb. Analyze a passage from a novel for noticing the use of voice and transitivity and the effect that they have on the style and meaning. Dear students, we also need to discuss the significance of this class. This class is significant because by the end of the class you will be able to differentiate between active, passive voice and transitivity, and you will be able to use them in your own writing and speech for stylistic effects. We'll also be able to analyze text well, especially on sentence level, if you know and if you are conscious of transitivity, active and passive voice. So let's get into it. Defining transitivity. In linguistics, transitivity is a property of verbs that relates to whether a verb can take direct object and how many such objects a verb can take. Now, dear students, transitivity is about verb and clauses. A verb may need an object that is called transitive verb. A verb may not take an object that is called intransitive verb, and a verb may take two objects, that is direct and indirect object. So the point is whether a verb takes an object or doesn't, whether it takes one object or two objects. Now transitivity is all about these things. I repeat, focus on point number 1 in linguistics. Transitivity is a property of verbs that relates to whether a verb can take direct object and how many such objects a verb can take. Dear students, let me also explain here what is meant by the direct object. If I say, he buys apples for you, now we have two objects here. One is direct object that receives the action of the verb buying. That is apple. Apple are being bought. The action of buying is happening on apple. Therefore, apple is the direct object of the verb buy. Then who is taking the advantage or disadvantage of the action of the verb buying? It is you. You is getting the advantage. You is beneficiary. So therefore, you is indirect object. So let me explain to you again that if an object identifies the person who takes the advantage or disadvantage of the action of the verb, then that object is known as indirect object. And the object that receives the action of the verb is known as direct object. For instance, I slap you. Now you is receiving the action of the slap. So therefore it is known as direct object. So dear students, such verbs that do not require any object are known as intransitive verb. For instance, he swims. He swim verb, it doesn't require any object to complete its sense. It does not need any object to complete the clause. So therefore it is intransitive verb. And then I hate him. Now hate does need an object to complete its sense. If you simply say I hate what, whom, so it needs an object to complete the sense. Now him is a direct object of the verb hate, and hate is known to be a transitive verb because it does need an object to complete its sense. In the third example, as we have discussed, he buys apples for you. There is the transitive verb, that is the verb that requires both direct and indirect object. Will be further elaborating this point next. Intransitive verb, a verb characterized by not having or containing a direct object, according to Merriam-Webster. For instance, I ran. Now, ran is an intransitive verb because it doesn't need any object and the sense is complete. Then the birds fly. Fly is intransitive because it doesn't need any object to complete its sense. And then here swimming. Swim is also intransitive. Now focus on the next point, that is transitive verb. A verb characterized by having or containing a direct object. For instance, I like pie. Now this is transitive verb because like needs something to complete it, to fulfill its sense. I like a pie. She makes hats. So both of these sentences have their objects, and that makes their verb meaningful and complete their senses. A verb that takes both direct and indirect object. For example, he is gifting you a watch. What is the receiving the action of gifting? Watch. Watch is who is beneficiary? You is beneficiary. You is indirect object. So the verb gift is detransitive. I'm cooking food for you. I'm cooking food. Who is taking the advantage? You. So you is indirect object. What is the receiving of the action of verb? Food. Food is receiving the action of the verb cooking. And watch is receiving the action of gifting. So gifting and cooking, these are the detransitive verb because they both have direct object and indirect object. Now this is question for you, how transitivity is related to voice. So we can make passive voice if active voice structure is removed. If you move the subject into the voice slot to make passive, if there is no object, if it is an intransitive verb, for instance swim, and it is not followed by any object, then you cannot first bring object to the subject slot. It means, in simple words, that you cannot make passive if the verb is intransitive one. For instance, he swims. No, you cannot make it passive voice. It can be used only in active voice because it is not followed by an object that is required to be brought to the beginning of the sentence for making a passive voice structure. So of course that is not possible if there is no object. In other words, in simple words, if a verb in a sentence is intransitive, that is, if it is not followed by an object, you cannot bring the object to the beginning of the sentence to make a passive structure. Therefore, you cannot have passive structure where the sentence has intransitive verb. In simple words, passive structure is dependent on transitivity, on whether a verb has an object or does not have an object, or it has two objects. Now we will be in the next section differentiating between active and passive voice after discussing transitivity. Now how you differentiate active from passive, how you make active and passive. First point is move the subject of the active verb to the end of the sentence, making it the passive agent, and add by. So we all know that if we make passive, we have to move the subject of the active verb to the end of the sentence, that is to the subject slot, to the object slot. We will then be making a passive agent. For instances, compare these two examples. If you say Aslam has been eating an apple, now making it passive, we will move the subject of the active verb has been eating to the end. For instance, you will be saying that apple has been eaten by Aslam. Now the subject of the active verb has been removed to the end of the sentence, and you will also add by while making passive. All of us know this is a simple thing. Now one thing that I must explain what is meant by the active verb and passive verb. Dear students, compare these two examples. In the active you have Aslam has been eating apple. Passive, apple has been eaten by Aslam. So you see a lot difference between the verb of these two sentences. In active sentences, the verb is active. That is, it clearly shows the action taking place, and you see that the active verb has more force. It vividly creates image. For instance, I'm eating an apple. On the other hand, the passive verb, as the word shows, is passive. It is not very active and energetic. It shows as weak action. Action is not performed actively. For example, have been eaten doesn't have that force as eating has. So, dear students, keeping in mind, if you want to create force into your writing and speech, always prefer active voice. If you want to hide something, if you want to dilute some action, for example, in negative situation, for instance, I broke the chair, then use broken, a passive voice instead of the active verb I broke, because breaking is more forceful. So if there is negative situation and you want to dilute the negative situation, you will probably prefer to use the chair has been broken instead of saying I have broken the chair. I have broken is active. It shows the action forcefully and very clearly. And the point is that in active voice, the verb is active. So we discussed the first point, that is, we have to move the subject of the active verb to the end of the sentence, making it passive agent. Now the subject will become passive agent. For instance, Aslam has been eating apple. Here Aslam is active agent. Apple has been eaten by Aslam. Then Aslam become passive agent. He is not doing anything prominent in the active structure, passive structure. Move the object of the active verb to the front of sentence, making it passive subject. So apple will be brought to the front of the sentence and it will make it a passive subject. For instance, an apple have been eaten. Now apple is action. Apples are not doing anything actively. Apples have been eaten. There is something happening passively to apples rather than apple doing something actively in the passive structure. That's why we say that when you bring subject to the front of the sentence in passive voice, then it becomes passive subject. Point number 3. Replace the active verb phrase by a passive one. Usually a form of auxiliary verb be followed by ed participle. For instance, if you say boys are playing football, now the verb will become passive. For instance, football is being played. So you have passive verb. Instead of the active verb or playing, you have a passive verb. Is being played. Play. So normally you use third form of the verb. That's why they say that normally you add ed and the boys are playing football will become football is being played because you use third form of the verb in passive voice structure, and you also use one of the be forms. Now what are the be forms in present tense? Is, am, are the be form. Be means to be in a condition, in a stage. If you say I am ill, also is a form of be. It shows a state of being. And for plural in present, we are ill. And for singular, he is ill. So in present tense, is the form of be. Is and are form of the be. In past, was and were are the forms of be. And in the other form of be, that are being and being used in present continuous tense. So these are various forms of be's. So normally we use be in the verb phrase. For instance, the boys are playing football. No football is being played by the boys. In other words, is here is a form of be. So the verb phrase in the passive voice becomes a passive verb phrase. In active structure, in active sentence structure, the verb is an active one, but in the passive one, it is in passive form because, for example, is being played. Here it is in passive form. Now, why we call it verb phrase? Because the whole phrase is governed by the verb. Where verb is the main constituent of this whole phrase. So, as playing has mere verb, it is a verb phrase. Is being played, is helping verb, and played is main verb. So that's why it is called verb phrase. All the verb part is verb phrase. Within this you have two auxiliary verb, you have main verb. So this is how you differentiate between active voice and passive voice. In simple words, in passive voice, remove the subject of the active verb to the end of the sentence and make it passive agent, and then you do the vice versa. That is, you bring the object of the active verb to the front of the sentence and you make it passive subject. And then thirdly, you change the active verb phrase into passive verb phrase. Normally use one of the be forms and use verb with ed, but not always. For instance, eat, eaten. So generally in regular verbs ed is added to make it third form. There is some irregular verb also.